Hey everyone, it's Gabby, and we are doing our 25 days of Small Biz Babes. We have the honor of sitting down with the one and only Kirsten Ziegler. She's the owner of KVZ HR Consulting. She's also an HR expert and strength based coach. Today's live is going to go all over HR for non HR founders. And also, what if you're at a point in your business where you're 2 years in, you're 5 years in, money is flowing, you're hiring? What may you prepare to anticipate? Well, Kirsten knows because she's been there and she works with every single different kind of client. So, Kirsten, kick us off. Tell us first a little bit about you and how did you get into the world of consulting and HR consulting?
Oh, such a good question, Gabby. Thank you for having me. Um, I famously say I had no idea what HR was when I started my career post college. I went to college for art, but kind of just found myself in these like people management roles where I was doing hiring and, payroll and leadership training. And finally one day realized like, oh, this is a career and started heading down that HR path. And so I was in a variety of different businesses and industries, corporate, tech startups, healthcare, beauty. I was all over the place for about a decade before I started my own consulting practice. But during that time, I went to an HR training, and the woman hosting it was a consultant, and she got to do this like training for other HR people. And I went up to her and I was like, "Excuse me, how do I have your job? How do I get to do what you do? You get to help people, teach people, but also work with tons of different businesses, HR professionals to train and mentor. Like you get to do basically whatever you want." It just seemed like so much fun. And like the workshop aspect and the training aspect, she was like, you just need more experience. And so I honestly took that so seriously and just kept finding different HR roles and like spending time in different types of companies to gain that experience. And then one day the universe was like, time for you to start. And I was fired from my last corporate job and without hesitation started my own consulting business because I really wanted to work with small business owners specifically, mostly female founded, female led, who care about building a team and care about their people and want to create like, a heart led, values driven environment for people to thrive. And so it's been 3 years, haven't looked back since.
Oh my gosh, value driven. I love that, especially your desire to work all in with female founders. Now, tell us a little bit about your clientele base. What do you really do with your clients before we tap into everything they need to know for, HR for non-HR? Like tell us a little bit about your client mix.
Yeah. Oh, they come from such a variety of different industries. So I don't have a niche when it comes to industry because for me, I like learning about businesses and I like learning about industry. So it makes, my brain happy to be able to spend time in different places. But really, the profile of the business owner or the leader that I'm working with,
Mm.
that's what's most important to me. They have to be receptive to feedback, willing to learn. If you're not, there's no point in giving me like the time of day because you're not going to get anything out of this, right? So you want to be able to, be open-minded to learn different practices of how to communicate, how to lead people, how to hire people. Um, and yeah, so that's really where, but like I have so many interesting clients right now that I just love. Like I have an interior design client and a music PR client and a retail shop and a cafe. So it's really just like a nice, well-rounded, a lot of mental health professionals too, going out on their own and starting their own businesses and teams who are hiring for the first time.
Ooh.
That's kind of like a trend that's been happening that I've been working with a lot, which I love because honestly, I'm a big proponent that, of mental health. Everybody should have access to therapy and the right medications. And, we should all be able to take care of ourselves.
More mental health. Like,
More mental health. So I love working with therapists because of that. It's like,
Mm.
that's always so fun.
Yeah, they're not going to be like gaslighting you.
You know
You're like,
what I
wait, do I need
found?
to go to you? Like, what?
Honestly, with their teams, they're way too generous. Like, and when I say generous, I mean like they don't put like any sort of policies in place or like checks and balances, and they usually end up getting taken advantage of by their team members because they're so used to being like the
Oh.
person that's giving advice and like they're so empathetic and like so it's like this different muscle that needs to be built up with them. It's so interesting.
Oh, I love that you brought that up because I feel like if I had a nickel for every time someone said they got taken advantage of by a contractor, specifically a contractor typically at first, like before they
Hmm.
or sometimes an employee, but I feel like I hear it more often with a contractor, typically because there was no contract in place, there was no structure in place. So if we start there, Kirsten, someone's coming to you there and they're like, look, this person just took all my clients out from underneath me. You're like, oh my gosh, like they left my practice with absolutely nothing, but I built their business, their book of business for them. What are some things that these founders, as they're venturing out into their own, what is some of the things that they should be putting in place to avoid being taken advantage of?
That is such a good question. And I will say it's really hard when you're working with contractors because you do not have control over them
Mm.
in general, how they work, when they work, where they work, right? Like you can't have them sign an employee handbook. So it's really difficult. And that becomes a little bit of a gray area with contractors and like confidentiality agreements and, that type of stuff. Like,
Mm.
I would recommend for those situations, work with an employment lawyer, get a good confidentiality agreement in place, make sure you have people sign that document. Confidentiality agreements are usually like pretty legal documents. And so, I always recommend finding an employment lawyer to help you with that. But from a growth perspective, it's really difficult. And I know, listen, you have a business, you're starting to feel that like, oh, I need to hire someone. I don't know who to hire. I don't know what to do. That person's usually going to be a contractor, and that's great. Like I'm a contractor for most of my clients, right? So
Yes.
absolutely. But you have to understand the relationship of a contractor
Mm.
versus an employee because an employee is someone that you're going to be able to mold and have them align with your policies, and you're going to be able to train them to do the work the way you want it to be done. And so from a growth perspective, employee is the way to go. So it's always a little
Mm.
tricky, with that contractor.
And you know what? I was watching shamelessly, I was watching a TikTok and it was about quantum leaping, right? And like aligning to quantum leap. Like, I'm going to get back to the point. I'm going to get back to the point here. But what she was mentioning is that your life mirrors your mind and you're experiencing your nervous system playing out in real life. And so I kind of want to address the elephant in the room, which is why do you think small businesses are so afraid of hiring actual employees?
Yeah.
And now, from the accounting perspective, because that's my background, although I'm not a CPA and I don't practice as an accountant, I still have that knowledge and that skill base. And I was just on a conversation with someone yesterday who's not really necessarily making a lot of money at all. They're kind of washing even with their expenses, but they were being told by multiple people not to get an LLC and not to put their money on their taxes because of all the taxes they would pay. And I was like, well, you need to have a tax professional on your side. But I think that the same thing may be happening when it comes to hiring employees. What's so horrible about it is like, let's debunk this
Yeah.
quantum leap, these business owners who are maybe holding themselves back by continuously hiring contractors.
I mean, I understand, right? Because I get it. It's for them, what I hear the most. I feel like there's so many answers to that question, but what I hear the most is being responsible for someone else. Contractors,
Mm.
work independently, right? Like you give them a project. And that's the thing,
Mhm.
like defining scope of work with a contractor is really important. If you don't have a contractor agreement, like if a contractor doesn't have an agreement, someone needs to create that so the scope of work
Mhm.
is defined. Similarly, with an employee, that would be the job description. So you'd be very, very clear about what the expectations are in the role. But there's always that fear of being responsible for someone financially, being responsible for someone behaviorally, and then also
Mhm.
not everybody has managed people before, and not everybody wants to either. That's the other part of it. And so there's a lot of those things holding people back. But in my opinion, if you're at the stage of your business where you need or you want to grow, then it's a no-brainer. That's absolutely the right move.
Absolutely. And especially if you're making the kind of money, right? Multiple six figures going into the millions. And it comes a place in time where I think it is very beneficial to hire on your contractors. And
Yeah.
right, like I think that from a tax perspective and from just overall like
Yep.
business perspective for stability, there's top
Yes.
talent out there that you have to pick a day and time if I'm going to keep contracting them or if I'm going to bring them inside my company as my go-to, as my person, and like I'm going to pay them their worth. But it sounds like the responsibility is the thing holding people back and they
Yeah.
feel nervous. Now, what is the process of hiring someone? So like let's say someone's sitting there and they're like, okay, I hear you loud and clear, guys. Like, wait, what would it even look like for me to hire someone?
I get this question all the time, which is actually why I created my hiring and onboarding starter kit course for small businesses because I was getting asked that constantly. And there's a lot of information that comes with it. But then I also created, which I think is so helpful, not to like toot my own horn, but I was really proud of myself with all the templates I made as a part of this course. And so, because there's a lot of paperwork that comes with hiring people. And
Mm.
so actually on my website, I have a free download. It's a job description template and it has AI prompts. So you can like work with Chat GPT or Claude or whichever you use to build out a job description that, is aligned with your business and reflects what you're actually looking for. But the place I even pre-job description, I always recommend just having like a note open on your computer or like a Google Doc or an Excel sheet, whatever you work with. And as you're doing your day to day, start jotting down things that where there's gaps, like things that aren't getting done, where someone could be pulled in, or things that you shouldn't be spending your time doing. And your
Mhm.
time would be better off like somewhere that's more valuable. And just start, putting things you can delegate or putting things you need on this list. It won't take any time and, soon enough, you'll have a list of things. I did this myself and I was like, oh, I didn't even realize this. Categorize them. Is it
Mm.
admin? Is it operations? Is it sales? Is it something specific to your business? And you should have a sense after spending some time doing that. If you need help, what kind of help does that look like? Is it an employee? Great. Maybe it's a part-time employee though. Like that's the
Mhm.
other thing. Don't forget about those part-timers. You don't have to hire
Yeah.
someone at that full 40 hours a week. You still can do a part-time employee. And there are many people that are looking for that type of flexibility.
Yes. Start where you are
Yeah.
with what you have, which is that tool and that resource that you just shared. And as we're moving into, because I know we have been going off, we have been fueling the people. And as people are like, Kirsten, okay, I need to know, like, here's the size of my business. How can I get to know you? How can I work with you? What do you have for me?
I have so many things for you.
I
So
have so many.
I have so many things. If you're like, hey, I just want to learn how to hire and you're, a self-starter and you want to walk through that process on your own, definitely check out my hiring and onboarding starter kit course. I will be doing a discount for the holidays. Not to
Yes.
like I don't know if I was supposed to say that now, but it's
Absolutely. The thankful 33, right?
yes,
33% off. And now tell us about this starter kit course, hiring and onboarding
yes. So
starter
it
kit course.
walks.
How much does it cost? Where can we buy it? Like, give us the full nine.
So it's on my website. It's also in my link tree, which I have linked in my Instagram, on my LinkedIn. So there's multiple ways you can access this. My website's kdzhrconsulting.com. And the course, so I have three different packages for this course. It's either just the package or just the full course itself, where you can just walk through at your own pace. You get forever access to it once you purchase, so you can always go back to it if you're hiring someone else, like a year or two down the road, even. And it will be updated if compliance things change. That full price is $497, and so for the holidays, I'll be doing a 33% discount. I can't do math that quick, so that's why I hire an accountant. I'm not a math person. And then the second tier is full course plus hiring support package. So you get a full month of office hours from me, email support. And I also do like 2 meetings a month that are like group meetings. And that is 747, which would also then have that
Um,
33% discount. And
yeah.
then the highest tier is everything included plus a private 90-minute one-on-one, which is 947.
Um, that is
So,
amazing. Just so you know, the base tier becomes 333, I believe. And then the middle tier becomes $500.50. And then you said the high tier was 947.
yep,
Okay, then the just because I love numbers and
because
simplification.
you are the math girl.
Yes, and then the highest tier becomes 634.50. So these are awesome. Like they will make their money back
Yeah,
because retaining amazing talent and top talent, it's it's something that you should be investing in, and you should be very mindful of how am I treating my contractors? How am I treating my employees? How happy are they? Because how long is it going to take for you to teach someone else how amazing the job they do is? Especially as small business owners, I can consistently see that sometimes contractors employees are like, I need to be poured into. Like I still
yeah.
need to be poured into.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then the other part of it too is the compliance end, right? So making sure that you are doing everything correctly,
Mhm.
legally, compliantly. While this is not legal advice, right? I am providing you with
Yes.
tools that help you stay compliant. And so, the basic package for just the course definitely walks you through, but there might be some gaps there because if you're in a specific city or state, some of your requirements might be different than, federally. So that's where that
Yeah.
individualized support sometimes comes in handy. But the course
Mm.
walks you through the first stages, which is like determining what type of role you want to hire for, interviewing, interview questions, how to interview in a compliant, appropriate way, and then all the way through onboarding, what paperwork needs to be filled out, what to look for payroll systems, what sort of tax things you need to set up. So I think it's a really good value and I hope people love it. But I know that there are some people too that don't want to do this stuff on their own, right? And want
Yeah.
that person
They
to
want a
lead them
partner.
through it. Yeah, individually. So I
Yes.
also do a lot of 3-month packages with teams. And really, I'm that partner for them, and I'm doing a lot of the execution on the hiring process.
I'm proud of ourselves. I'm proud of us because we stuck to our 20-minute time frame that we gave ourselves. Like I think we're just like a minute or two over, which is fabulous. Kirsten, thank you so much for chatting all things HR with us because we need access to this education and to these resources. So with the code Thankful33, and we'll also upload this with the link so that way you can grab it and learn all about Kirsten. At least give her a connect on LinkedIn, give her a follow on Instagram. We'll put all her details in the description of the event here. And thank you, Kirsten, so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Gabby. I always have so much fun with you. And I love that you're doing this and highlighting businesses. So thank you for that.
Of course. Thank you.